Welcome to the University of Findlay Art and Culture Show. My name is Sharinda, and I am your host for today. And I am very pleased to introduce with us our special guests, who are Miss Jennifer Butler.
Yes.
And Miss Arna. And we're so glad you are here. Arna, you are currently a student on campus.
Yeah, I am. I'm a sophomore.
Sophomore, and what are you majoring in?
So right now it's international relations and theater with a minor in sustainable development.
Awesome. And have you enjoyed the opportunities that has afforded you on campus?
Yeah, I pretty much love the campus. Like there are so many opportunities on campus to do, so I love that.
Good. And I love seeing you involved.
No, I love seeing you.
I've had the honor of working with you and traveling with you, and you always bring such a wonderful spirit and lightness with you that is positive.
Thank you.
And Jen, what do you do here on the campus?
So I am the program coordinator at the Buford Center for Diversity and Service.
And part of your role with that is coordinating a very special event here on campus.
Yes.
And that's what we're here to talk about today.
Yeah.
And that is International Night.
International Night, yeah.
And they being the university, has celebrated this for many years, and it's a special anniversary this year.
Yes, it is.
What year is this?
It is the 50th year.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
I remember coming to it with my grandmother when she was alive as a little girl.
That's
so
special.
It is. It's very special.
Yeah.
So how did International Night begin here on campus? What was the mission of that first night?
So I don't know if you remember, but Dr. Rayburn Wallen, he was a professor here. And so take you back a little bit, it's been a privilege to go back in time and look at your books and articles and look at the last 50 years. It's been pretty special, and talk to his family as well. And before 1969, which was the first International Night, but before that time, Dr. Wallen would travel and started recruiting international students and would take his children with him and his wife. And then when he returned, he would invite them into his home and have them over to share stories and cook together and make ice cream and just share each other's culture. And he really believed in the importance of those direct relationships and learning from those experiences. And so it became really big. And their house, as Tammy, his daughter, explained, it was getting too big to have it.
So it evolved and grew.
It did, yes. So all these students would come over and they were running out of room. So,
and part of that was because the university as a whole welcomed the international students and said, yes, please keep coming, so that population grew.
Yes.
Which is such a wonderful heritage for us when we see the campuses throughout the U.S. who have just started programs with international students, and we can very proudly say we've had that culture here on our campus for a lifetime for some.
Yes.
So it evolved from a home, and then it moved to the campus, which once again, from the campus culture, said, we're welcoming
going to embrace
you. We
this.
want this. Yes.
Yes. And it was Dr. Wallen's wife who actually had the idea. Let's find a bigger space on campus and let's bring it to the AMU. And so they did, and so it started in 1969 on campus.
And so the AMU, for people who aren't familiar with our campus, is the Alumni Memorial Union.
Yes.
And that building still exists and is still used for many programs. And I know that for some of the years when we would go to the AMU, it was wonderful because it was very close. And so you got to visit with everyone, but it became very warm.
Yes, very crowded.
And very crowded.
Yes.
And so once again, the living room that was being provided, we outgrew it.
Yeah.
And so it evolved again into a new space.
Yes.
Because we had wonderful docents and investors who said there needs to be something else on campus, and then that something else also became a space for International Night. So where are we now?
So now we are in Kaler in the student rec side. And we usually see 1,500 or more individuals come through from the campus community and then Findlay community as well.
And that's been an evolution where it started here on campus, but people started to hear about it in the community. They knew they'd never get to these countries, but they were very hungry to meet the people and to learn about. So how is this an educational opportunity for our community members? Because that was part of the growth that was also cultivated by the international students. They wanted that opportunity to celebrate their cultures, their foods, and their art forms, their clothing. So how did that happen? What happened with that timeline?
So in the past, you probably remember as a young child that they used to invite schools, so area schools, I don't know if you know this, but area schools used to come in, and it was an all-day event.
School bus them in.
Yes, and so the international students had booths set up all day. And they would come in and they would get a passport and they would visit the different countries, and so
learn different games or a different different words in the home language.
Yes. And so, but that evolved, and actually then it just, I think it became a little overwhelming for the students.
Well, and some of the schools had their funding cut for the field trips.
Right.
So that happened also.
Busing them in and everything, yes. So then it got shortened to just the evening event in the AMU, as I remember, and then it was the booths and the entertainment.
And so when it moved to Kaler, we went to a totally different format. When we say booths in the Union, it was a table, and then there was another table maybe a half a foot away that was another country, and they would just have that space to decorate with clothing and pictures and jewelry, and maybe some art. But when it moved to Kaler, it's more like an expo. Because we have the pipe and the drape and now
the bigger space and this big stage, and it used to the tables in the AMU, the students would shut down their booths and then you would have the entertainment in the multi-purpose room.
But now it's like the tables are there and there's the entertainment is going on.
At the same time.
And the food, I know that the students, oh my goodness, how much work is put into the food, the delicious food.
And the planning that goes behind it.
I know.
It's such a long process. Like it doesn't just happen. Like,
and you're doing it. You're cooking food, and I try to express there's over 1,500 people that come through.
Good luck figuring out how many pieces of one thing to make for them to have
size.
a taste. Because you want to do a meal, and everyone's getting a meal as they taste the different parts of the world. So Arna, where are you from?
So I'm from Bangladesh.
Okay.
I was born and raised in Bangladesh, in the capital city. It's called Dhaka. It's in South Asia. It's a small country just besides India, Myanmar, Nepal, Pakistan. So we're around that.
Okay. And you said that you're a sophomore.
Yes, I am.
And so and now I know a little bit about your background before you came here. And I'm very proud of what you've accomplished in your homeland before you came here.
Thank you.
Will you tell us a little bit about that? Because there are many people that don't realize that when you get into other countries, sometimes the education system is different due to faith and due to laws that are of that country. And you saw a need for young women in your country, and you took an initiative that was supported, and you have made an amazing difference in many lives before you came here and invested in it so much here. So will you tell us a little bit about that program and what your vision was with that, please?
So back home, I was very involved with a lot of things, but mostly with social movements that will help like women and children. It's also like came with the support of my mother. She herself like raised us, and she has always been a role model for me. So she always pushed me to do things that will like help
give back.
And me coming here, it's just not me. There are so many people who backed up me. Like it's not just I can't say that I came here by my own merit only or by my own hard working. It was the people, it's the community people who always helped, who always cherished all the things that I did. So I started a foundation back home. It's called DAC, which means calling, where we try to give law information where a lot of people doesn't have it about child sexual abuse or about harassment or about domestic violence. So how you get those information, because my mom herself is a lawyer and she actually became a lawyer in her mid-age, like not just like she did it when nobody thought she's gonna do it, but she did it at that moment and she started helping people. And then I also did a program where we talked about that's what I was telling you, that we did a shooting for 2 months straight, where we did it's the first show ever back home it's a television program which aired in like 4 different channels. It's on menstruation, but it's an educational program, but in a funny way, because it's a topic that you don't want to just go on.
It's a taboo topic to talk about. You have to find a way to talk about it so that people will listen and understand.
Starting from developed nations to developing nation, everywhere people are still very much in a blurry zone to talk about it. So we did that. And then what else? Yeah, that's what I actually did. And I volunteered with a lot of organizations to do things that really matters to me, like going to Nepal or India to talk about human trafficking. And like I'm also blessed, I think. It's those connections, finding those people who will take you to the right opportunity to understand like what you really want.
And then you've brought all of that experience and those connections, and it's like you said, so many travel with you because they've invested in you, and then you become that messenger to our campus. And you've been a wonderful advocate, and you've also been a wonderful leader and follower in the different programs and opportunities that you've taken advantage of, because I've enjoyed seeing you on the stage here at the university, and you've done wonderful with your different roles there. But I've also seen you go to a leadership conference where you got down and dirty in the inner city and you made a difference in people's lives that we may never see again. And so you've just invested so much wonderfully. And then we have the very special programs that come through the Buford Center, in addition to International Night, through
there's so many,
through dialogues and cooking classes. And this year they celebrated during Welcome Week the first of the celebrating people's cultures with the dance and the sound bites. Thank you. That's what that was called.
And Arna just got back from spring break too.
Yeah, didn't you do one of the...
we actually volunteered for refugees and immigrants and asylum seekers, people who are trying to find a new home here in this land of opportunities, where to be free, to be secured.
So it's neat to know everything you've given, and then you give time for International Night to welcome us into your homeland for a few minutes through the food, the music, the dance, poetry. There's so many different wonderful ways to celebrate Bangladesh. And I asked you all those questions because I want our viewing audience to know that the opportunities they have to come and meet the international students at International Night, it's not just seeing beautiful faces that look different from theirs, that they may never go to that country, but it's also the investment that each one of you make to our campus, to our local community and our national community is such a treasure, and they have the opportunity to come in, and there's no cost to this.
Nope, it is free. It is a free event for the community
and the students and faculty and staff. Now, there's definitely a cost with blood, sweat, and tears. No, just sweat and tears, right? With
they
making
put a lot
the food,
of hard work into it.
And working
and they
on
are
the
required
dancing.
to do an activity at their booth as well. So whether that's calligraphy or henna, something that represents their country.
And I know in past years, some of the countries have written people's names in their scrawl, the way that they would write in their homelands.
Yeah.
So that's really neat.
Yeah.
China even did that last time, I think. China's booth, China and Japan's booth, I think they did that.
And I have from Saudi Arabia hanging in my office, my name.
Yeah.
And then I also know that there's a fashion show that happens. And then there's also the parade of flags that happens. And that's all choreographed. But that's all organized and choreographed by students with some support of the staff of the Buford Center, correct?
Yes.
That they're the mentors, like they're like
they are
always,
the mentors.
They're
Yes.
always there.
Yeah.
It's like we have like meetings. Miss Jennifer Butler is like sending emails. Like there's the meeting.
Yeah.
There's the next meeting.
They help keep it focused and on task. Yeah. Well, we need those people.
It is so important.
And I couldn't tell you, I mean, the students put in the work to do, like I said, they do the booths, the performances, the fashion show. And then, of course, it can't go unnoticed that we have volunteers. So
Sure.
we have volunteers at the
And
welcome
those are faculty and staff and their
yes.
their
and
families.
also we have some community members as well that want to help and jump in, and students as well. So
and alumni.
yeah, we couldn't do this without everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody's hand in it. So it's a big event. Yeah.
Well, and I remember that an email came out. Who wants to sign up for trash duty? Who wants to sign up to be on the welcome center? So it's a very organic evening for everyone.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and from the trash, I just wanted to mention because
the people pick the trash up with a smile, don't they? I've seen them do it.
So I'm the vice president of Green Campus Club on campus.
Okay.
And this year, we actually at the club we came up with the idea of recycling, and we talked to Mrs. Butler about it, and they said, yeah, definitely we're gonna have recycling bins this year.
Oh, good.
Which something we're doing new this year. So we'll have recycling bins at the night, so people actually can come and put their whatever is recycling, like we can
the plastic,
recycle.
the paper, yes, wonderful cans. So, wonderful.
Yeah.
There's always improvements and there's always adjustments to be made
Absolutely.
with the evolution of the evening as well as with the population that comes in, because what they were doing in 1969.
That's right.
Some of it we may still be doing if they would come back and see. They may walk in and say, we recognize this, it's on a bigger scale, but we're home, this is exciting. But then there's
see the
other
same
parts.
dances as well, same dances or performances.
But there's other parts of it that they would come in and say, wow, we would never have thought of that then, but this is so good for now.
Yeah.
So that's what's fun about it.
Yeah.
It's a nice homecoming. So
really is.
will any of the family be with us for the 50th celebration with the professor who founded this, Mr. Wall?
I am hoping so. They've had a loss in the family recently. Yeah.
That's always
I just
hard.
heard about it last week. So I'm hoping so, but no pressure on their part.
Sure.
I know that Tammy, the daughter, she's lost her husband, but she's still planning to be there. So yeah, it's gonna be a special event, emotional event for her. So,
Well, and I know that others have taken over through the years too. So Jean Nye and Penny Gerdeman and some others have been part of it, and I know that Penny established a scholarship for an international student. So we may see some of them there that evening too. And of course, we don't want to leave anyone out that's been part of this heritage.
Yes.
So for this year, when is that big 50 birthday party anniversary?
March 29th, Friday, March 29th, from 5:30 to 8 in the Kaler Center.
Yeah.
And no tickets are needed.
Nope.
They just show up.
Yep.
But it's firm. The doors will be opening at
5:30.
5:30.
Yes. And we have a couple special things. I mean, there's some other special things, but some things I wanted to point out is that we do have, for students this year, we do have shirts.
Yay.
So, yay.
Shirts are important.
These are supported by SGA.
Which stands for Student Government Association.
Yes. And so they just need to show their student ID, and then they'll get a shirt. And then we also have community shirts that we're selling at the door as well.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And how much will the community shirts
Those are just
run
$5.
for? Okay, wonderful. So people can afford that. And then will you have children's sizes, or will it be adult small?
Adult small.
So it's adult small. Okay.
Yes.
So if
Yeah.
you have a smaller child, a small will work for a good sleep shirt.
Yes, just tie it up.
Yeah. And then you said there will be some other fun, festive celebrations
Yes, we're going to
throughout
have
the
a
evening.
50th cakes.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, and we're going to have a special video
Good.
shown of the history of International Night. as well.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, this is exciting.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful way to celebrate the past, present, and future
Yeah.
international populations that will be with us and consider us home. And I know that there are many that are alumni that keep in touch with so many here
Yeah.
on campus. And even though they don't get to be here in real life, they're here in spirit.
That's
and
right.
they always are on social media looking for those pictures.
Yeah.
And you have photographers that will be taking care of that this year too.
Yes,
So if someone is not
absolutely.
able to make it that evening, they'll be able to connect to your
That's
website and check out
Yep.
pictures
Yep,
later
they
and throughout the evening.
Absolutely. They can visit our Buford Center for Diversity and Service Facebook page or our Instagram page, UF Diversity and Service. And if they want to check the hashtag, UF International Night 2019.
Wonderful.
And so, yeah.
Thank you. And
Yeah.
so will you say the name of your office a little bit slower
Yes.
one more time, please?
Buford Center for Diversity and Service.
Thank you.
Yes.
And what is the phone number if someone isn't catching that and they can catch the number?
They can call me at 419-434-5855.
One more time, a little slower.
Yeah. 419-434-5855. The
Thank
things you
you.
know the most. It
Are
just-
the things that
just
roll right
roll
off.
right.
And someone watching out there is going, I gotta get my pencil. Say it one more time. All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us,
Yeah,
ladies. It's
thanks
been
for
wonderful
having
having you. This is one of my absolute favorite events of the year.
Yeah.
I love, love, love
It
celebrating.
was Dr. Wallen's proudest moments. I mean, Tammy said it
As
was
it
his
should
proudest
be.
moment, and it was the one thing that if he was going to come back to Findlay for, it was
It
for
would have been
internet.
that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So
It's such a great night. It is.
it is. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we look forward to seeing you the next time on the Art and Culture Show. I'm Sharinda Welton. Until then, be well.